Diana Taurasi's legendary career has spanned 2 decades, and she's redefined what it means to dominate the game. As her contract with the Phoenix Mercury nears its end, one question lingers. Could this be her final season? While Taurasi isn't ready to commit either way, she's already left an indelible mark on the WNBA and basketball as a whole. Let's explore how Taurasi's legacy will continue to impact the sport, whether she decides to play on or walk away. For 20 years, Diana Taurasi has been the face of the Phoenix Mercury and a driving force behind the WNBA's growth. Her skill, leadership, and unmatched competitiveness have earned her the title of the WNBA's all-time leading scorer, but her influence extends far beyond the stat sheets. As Taurasi's contract expires at the end of this season, the basketball world is left wondering if we're witnessing the final moments of one of the greatest players to ever step onto the court. Taurasi, known for her fiery passion and clutch performances, has never been one to shy away from the spotlight. Yet when it comes to her future, she's keeping things close to the vest. "You don't get to pick your ending sometimes," Taurasi said recently, reflecting on the uncertainty of what comes next. While she appreciates the Phoenix Mercury giving her the freedom to make her decision on her terms, the possibility of her retirement has the basketball world on edge. Taurasi's impact on the game is impossible to overstate. Since being drafted by the Mercury in 2004, she has redefined what it means to be a leader.
With the first pick of the 2004 WNBA draft, the Phoenix Mercury select Diana Taurasi from the University of Connecticut. Washington District select next.
She's led the Mercury to 3 WNBA championships, been named WNBA Finals MVP twice, and is a 10-time All-Star. Taurasi has been the standard of excellence for over 2 decades, and her legacy isn't just measured by trophies. It's measured by the generations of players she has inspired. What makes Taurasi's journey so remarkable is not just her on-court success, but her influence off the court as well. She's been a tireless advocate for the growth of women's basketball, helping to elevate the profile of the WNBA and push the boundaries of what's possible for women in sports. Players like Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu have openly credited Taurasi as one of their biggest inspirations, showing that her impact will continue long after she decides to step away. As the Mercury prepare for the playoffs, Taurasi's focus remains on winning. The team is locked into their playoff spot, and while Taurasi hasn't hinted at whether this will be her final run, there's a sense of appreciation for every moment she spends on the court. The possibility of her playing her final home game for Phoenix is something fans won't want to miss. What separates Taurasi from other stars is her longevity. At 42 years old, she continues to compete at the highest level, proving that age is just a number when it comes to her performance. Even as the league has evolved, Taurasi has adapted her game, finding new ways to lead her team and make an impact. This season has been an emotional one, not just for Taurasi, but for the entire WNBA. The idea of losing a player of her stature brings a mix of sadness and celebration. Sadness, because her presence on the court has been a constant for 2 decades. Celebration, because what she's accomplished is nothing short of legendary. From her days at UConn to becoming the WNBA's all-time leading scorer, Taurasi has been the face of the league, and her influence will be felt for years to come. Still, Taurasi is in no rush to make a decision. She's been open about taking her time, not wanting to commit to an answer before she's ready. When it ends, it ends. It's been a fun ride, Taurasi reflected. But whether or not she returns for another season, Taurasi's legacy is secure. She's left an undeniable mark on the WNBA and has inspired countless young players who will carry the torch forward. In the short term, Taurasi and the Mercury are focused on their playoff push. With 3 straight wins, Phoenix is finding their stride at just the right time. And while they're not favored to win the title, Taurasi's experience and leadership could make all the difference. She's always been a player who steps up when it matters most, and this playoff run could give us a few more unforgettable Taurasi moments. So, will Diana Taurasi decide to return for another season? Or will she hang up her jersey after 2 decades of dominance? Either way, her legacy is cemented, and her impact on the game of basketball will be felt for generations. Whether she's on the court or watching from the sidelines, Taurasi's presence in the sport will never fade. Stay tuned, because as long as she's playing, there's always more history to be made. The WNBA has entered a new era, fueled by the rising star power of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. These two rookies are more than just basketball phenoms. They're driving a cultural shift, and the league has big plans to capitalize on their stardom. Could this be the moment that takes the WNBA to the next level? Let's dive into the bold strategy in place to harness the Clark-Reese rivalry and take the league mainstream. When the 2023 NCAA Women's Basketball Championship broke viewership records, drawing nearly 10 million viewers to watch Angel Reese's LSU triumph over Caitlin Clark's Iowa, the WNBA knew it had tapped into something much bigger. The game wasn't just about basketball, it was a cultural moment that drew comparisons to the Magic Johnson-Larry Bird rivalry that elevated the NBA in the 1980s. For the WNBA, this was the beginning of a new chapter. League executives like WNBA Chief Marketing Officer Phil Cook recognized the importance of capitalizing on the rivalry, saying it was quality of play, rivalries, debates. That's what makes every sport. And that's exactly what the WNBA needed. A story that would bring in new audiences and ignite passion for the game. But this strategy didn't start overnight. For years, the WNBA had incredible talent and fierce competition. But mainstream audiences hadn't embraced it the same way they had other sports. Players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who became household names during their college careers, presented the perfect bridge between college and professional basketball. Their fame wasn't limited to highlight reels. They sparked debates, inspired rivalries, and connected with fans on a cultural level. To capture this momentum, the WNBA rolled out one of its boldest marketing strategies yet. For the first time, the league launched a television ad campaign during the NCAA tournament, drawing in viewers who were already hooked on Clark and Reese. The results? A significant spike in viewership and engagement with the league, especially as Clark and Reese took center stage in the 2024 WNBA draft. The 2024 draft was a landmark moment for the WNBA. For the first time, the league offered draft tickets to fans, and they sold out in minutes. The draft, featuring both Clark and Reese, drew 2.45 million viewers, the highest-rated WNBA broadcast on ESPN to date. It was clear that the WNBA had found a way to bridge the gap between the college game, where stars are born, and the professional league, where they now shine. The Clark-Reese rivalry is doing more than just bringing in viewers. It's driving culture. At the WNBA All-Star Game, Nneka Ogwumike, president of the Women's National Basketball Players Association, stressed the importance of this moment, saying, "This is something we've always wanted. It's really something we have to capitalize on." And capitalize they have. The WNBA's strategic focus on these players has positioned the league to continue growing in unprecedented ways. The 2022 $75 million capital raise allowed the league to expand its marketing efforts and increase its visibility. Players like Clark and Reese, who bring a level of star power rarely seen in women's sports, are the faces of this new movement. But the WNBA isn't stopping with marketing. The league is looking ahead to a massive media rights deal in 2026 that is expected to bring in significantly more revenue, allowing the WNBA to grow in ways never before possible. Expansion teams are already in the works, and the league is poised to leverage the popularity of players like Clark and Reese to introduce the WNBA to a wider audience. The Clark-Reese rivalry has helped drive viewership to new heights. Caitlin Clark's record-breaking NCAA season, where she became the all-time Division I scorer, and Angel Reese's massive branding presence have both drawn millions of new eyes to women's basketball. And these two players aren't just popular, they're also dominant. They've sparked debates, rivalries, and a level of media attention that the WNBA hasn't seen before. Angel Reese, with her unapologetic confidence and larger-than-life personality, has been at the center of social media conversations, while Caitlin Clark's remarkable performances on the court have captivated fans of the sport. Together, they represent the future of the WNBA, a future that's not only focused on the game itself, but on how it connects with a broader audience. And the timing couldn't be better. The WNBA's rise in popularity coincides with the league's efforts to secure long-term growth through lucrative media deals and strategic expansion. These deals are set to reshape the financial landscape of the league, creating more opportunities for players and fans alike. The combination of Clark, Reese, and the league's growing visibility is setting the stage for a new era in women's sports. This shift has been noticed by sports executives across the board. The WNBA is now driving culture in ways that weren't possible just a few years ago. As Ogwumike put it, we're driving culture in a lot of different ways, but most importantly, we can hoop. That statement captures the essence of this new WNBA era. It's not just about the off-court branding, it's about the high-quality basketball that's driving the league to new heights. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are leading the charge, but they're not doing it alone. The 2024 rookie class, which includes a host of talented young players, is bringing a fresh energy to the WNBA. These players are ushering in a new era of competition, one that promises to captivate audiences for years to come. So what's next for the WNBA as it rides the wave of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's stardom? With a new media rights deal on the horizon, expansion teams in the works, and record-breaking viewership, the league is set to explode in popularity. But can Clark and Reese's rivalry continue to elevate the WNBA to new heights? Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come.
From a basketball standpoint, how proud are you of getting on the rule?
Yeah, I'm super excited for him. Obviously, his basketball knowledge is pretty good, and it makes it fun. Like, you can bounce ideas off of each other. So, yeah, I think just super proud. He worked super hard for that.
Caitlin Clark isn't just breaking records on the basketball court. She's also winning off the court. The Fever star recently sent a heartfelt message to her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, after he landed a new job as an assistant coach for Butler University's men's basketball program. With both of them making waves in Indianapolis, their basketball journey continues to rise together. Let's dive into how Clark and McCaffrey's basketball lives are closely intertwined and what this means for their future. Caitlin Clark's rookie season with the Indiana Fever has been nothing short of legendary. From breaking WNBA rookie scoring records to leading her team to their first playoff appearance since 2016, Clark has proven she's a generational talent. But while she's making history on the hardwood, her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, is also building his own legacy in the basketball world. McCaffrey recently secured a new role as an assistant coach for Butler University's men's basketball program, marking another major milestone in their shared journey. Clark wasted no time showing her support, posting on her Instagram story to congratulate McCaffrey on his new position, writing, "Yay, so happy for you, a Connor M30." The post quickly garnered attention, with fans loving the power couple's mutual support as they continue to make their mark on Indianapolis' sports scene. What makes this move even more exciting for the couple is that McCaffrey's new coaching job keeps him in Indianapolis, where Clark's Fever are based. This means they can continue to build their careers in the same city, avoiding the strain of long-distance relationships that many professional athletes and coaches face. McCaffrey's position with Butler University allows him to stay close to Clark, both physically and emotionally, as they continue to support each other's success on the basketball court. For those unfamiliar, McCaffrey and Clark's relationship began when they met at the University of Iowa, where both were standout athletes. McCaffrey played both basketball and baseball for the Hawkeyes, while Clark dominated the basketball world with her historic performances at Iowa. Their bond, forged on the Iowa campus, has carried through their professional careers, and now, with both making waves in Indianapolis, they've become a power couple in the city's sports scene. McCaffrey's basketball pedigree is impressive. As the son of Iowa men's basketball head coach Fran McCaffrey, he's been around the game his entire life. His move to Butler comes after a stint as an assistant coach with the Indiana Pacers, giving him the kind of experience that could lead him to even greater coaching opportunities in the future. With McCaffrey now working his way up in the coaching ranks, there's no telling how far he can go, but it's not hard to imagine him leading a major program one day. Clark's continued rise as a WNBA superstar has been nothing short of breathtaking. Despite being just 22 years old, she has already transformed the Indiana Fever into a playoff team in her rookie season. Her combination of deep shooting, court vision, and playmaking ability has drawn comparisons to NBA legends like Stephen Curry. And she's not just rewriting rookie records. She's setting new standards for what a point guard can achieve in the WNBA. Clark's support for McCaffrey isn't just a personal message. It's also a reflection of the power of relationships in professional sports. Both Clark and McCaffrey have demanding schedules, with practices, games, and travel. But their shared passion for basketball keeps them connected. By supporting each other's goals and accomplishments, they've built a strong foundation that fuels their individual and collective success. Basketball has always been at the center of their relationship, and now, with McCaffrey joining Butler's coaching staff and Clark continuing to make her mark with the Fever, the two are poised to become Indianapolis' ultimate basketball power couple. Both are young, hungry, and focused on reaching the top of their respective fields. And with each passing season, their names are becoming more synonymous with success in the world of basketball. Clark's performance in her rookie season has already established her as one of the most impactful players in the league. From setting the WNBA single-season assist record to leading the Fever back to the playoffs, her contributions have been undeniable. And with McCaffrey making his own mark as a coach, they are proving that their basketball IQ extends beyond playing. They're both students of the game, constantly evolving and learning. As the Fever prepare for the playoffs and Butler University gets ready for the upcoming NCAA basketball season, Clark and McCaffrey's story is far from over. The question is, how much further can they push each other? With both of them excelling in their careers, the sky's the limit for this basketball couple. So, with Caitlin Clark leading the Fever into the playoffs and Connor McCaffrey stepping into his new role at Butler, what's next for this rising power couple? Could McCaffrey's coaching career skyrocket just as quickly as Clark's playing career? One thing is for sure, this basketball duo is just getting started, and the city of Indianapolis is watching their journey closely. The WNBA world is buzzing, and not for the reasons you might expect. Sheryl Swoopes, one of the league's biggest legends, has found herself at the center of a heated debate after repeatedly criticizing Caitlin Clark's historic rookie season. Gil's Arena is the latest platform to take on Swoopes, with Gilbert Arenas and his co-hosts going all in on her controversial comments. Could Swoopes be feeling threatened by Clark's rapid rise? Stick around to hear what went down and why fans are siding with Caitlin Clark in this war of words. Sheryl Swoopes is undeniably a legend in the WNBA, but lately she's been making headlines for her controversial takes on Caitlin Clark. Over the past few months, Swoopes has repeatedly downplayed Clark's accomplishments, arguing that while Clark is impressive, she isn't as dominant as many believe. Swoopes has even gone as far as to say that neither Clark nor Angel Reese would dominate in their rookie seasons.
What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
What started as a seemingly innocuous opinion quickly snowballed into a major controversy, as Swoopes' continued criticism of Clark's performances drew backlash from fans, analysts, and even other players. On Gil's Arena, Gilbert Arenas and his co-hosts took a deep dive into Swoopes' comments, calling out the WNBA Hall of Famer for what they see as personal bias. During the latest episode of Gil's Arena, Arenas and his co-hosts didn't hold back when discussing Swoopes' critique. She's crossed the line from analysis into hate, Arenas said, referencing Swoopes' unwillingness to acknowledge Clark's incredible accomplishments. Co-hosts joined in, pointing out that Clark has done things no rookie in WNBA history has done before.
Look at the dominating factor being numbers. It's what you're doing on the floor. And those numbers would change if the factors on the floor changes. If you make that layup, the stats change. If you swing, I get a layup, stats change. These are factors on the floor that we don't get to see.
And yet Swoopes has continued to suggest that Clark isn't living up to expectations. One of the main points discussed was how Swoopes kept shifting the goalposts when it came to Clark.
Reading the floor well, she's
Rashard, you can do that for every single player that plays the game.
I know, but I'm doing it for the rookie because she came in with an expectation. Everybody else didn't come in with an expectation to even analyze their game. So if we want to say whether or not Caitlin is dominating or not, we have to actually look at the totality of her game and not just the highlight.
Early in the season, Swoops argued that Clark wasn't impacting the game the way she should. But by the time Clark was breaking records left and right, Swoops claimed that stats alone don't define dominance. This inconsistency didn't go unnoticed by Arenas and his co-hosts, who questioned whether Swoops was letting personal feelings cloud her judgment.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
That's crazy.
Is
that dominant?
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
While the drama swirled around her, Caitlin Clark has let her game do the talking. In her first season in the WNBA, Clark has shattered multiple records, becoming the fastest player in league history to hit 100 three-pointers. She also set the WNBA rookie record for assists and has led her team, the Indiana Fever, to their first playoff appearance in 7 years. Clark's rookie stats, 19.5 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, are already legendary. And it's not just about the numbers. Clark has displayed incredible leadership on the court, elevating her teammates and making the Indiana Fever a team that no one wants to face in the playoffs. Her impact goes beyond scoring and assists. She's fundamentally changed the trajectory of the Fever franchise. By any measure, Caitlin Clark's rookie season is one of the best in WNBA history. Yet despite these achievements, Swoops has continued to minimize Clark's success, arguing that she's not truly dominating the league. Swoops' comments have sparked a major backlash among WNBA fans, particularly those who support Caitlin Clark. On social media, fans have pointed out that Clark's numbers this season are comparable to some of Swoops' best years in the league. In fact, some have gone as far as to say that if Clark isn't dominant now, then Swoops never was. The ongoing criticism from Swoops has led many to question whether her comments are rooted in something more personal. Is Swoops threatened by the new wave of WNBA talent, particularly players like Clark, who are breaking records she once held? Gilbert Arenas hinted at this on his show, suggesting that Swoops may be struggling with the fact that the game is evolving and new stars are taking over.
When we're talking about Caitlin, we're talking about when she said dominate. When we're saying dominate, we're thinking what she does in college.
Score the ball.
She's dominated college, right?
No, she dominated in college.
She dominated. So when she says you won't come here and dominate off the rip, averaging 17 is not dominated compared to averaging 30-something for 4 straight years.
But that was also like the first half of the season. I feel like after the break, I still don't think she's dominating, but she's a different player than she was in the first half of the season.
While the debate over Swoops and Clark has been front and center, it's part of a larger conversation about the generational shift happening in the WNBA. Players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are part of a new wave of talent that is bringing more attention to the league than ever before. With record-breaking performances and a growing fan base, these young stars are changing the landscape of women's basketball. But with that change comes tension. Older players and legends like Cheryl Swoops may feel their legacies are being overshadowed by this new generation. In Gil's Arena, the hosts explored how this dynamic could be fueling some of the more pointed critiques coming from Swoops.
She averaged 31.6, 7.4 rebounds, 9 assists, right? Did anyone expect her to do that in WNBA?
Those three? No.
Right? So she didn't do that.
No.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy.
5
Is
points,
that dominant?
5.6
Those are
turnovers,
hell of a
too.
number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
rookie.
But to me, that's not dominating.
After all, it's not just about stats. It's about maintaining relevance in a league that is rapidly growing and evolving. Caitlin Clark represents the future of the WNBA, and her rise to prominence has sparked debates not only about her abilities, but also about what it means to be a dominant player in today's game. Swoops hasn't backed down from her stance, even in the face of backlash. Most recently, she argued that Clark's MVP-level performances are inflated by the media's desire to promote a young, marketable star.
it's not going to be as easy as y'all think it's going to be.
Right.
But also saying, don't put all that pressure on these rookies, and just say Angel and Caitlin in particular, because that's who everybody was talking about. Like, don't put all that pressure on them to feel like they got to come in and do what they did in college.
She even suggested that the WNBA's focus on Clark's success could be taking attention away from other deserving players, such as A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese.
I don't think either of them are going to come into the league and dominate immediately, meaning what they did in college.
Over all of the players in the W.
And the reason why I said it is because you have a player like an A'ja Wilson.
However, Gil's Arena co-hosts were quick to point out that Clark's success hasn't come at the expense of others. In fact, her ability to elevate her team and generate excitement for the WNBA has brought more visibility to the league as a whole.
No rookie is in dominating form, right? When we're saying dominating, you go through history and say, well, Candace Parker dominated her rookie year.
Yeah.
Cap.
You don't feel that.
She was great her rookie year. She was better than expected her rookie year. But if you take her rookie year compared to her dominating year, is it?
Can we say this?
But if you win the MVP, you wouldn't say that she dominated.
Yes. So her best year was her rookie year?
I'm not saying it was her best year, but if I come in as a rookie and I'm the most valuable, but if I'm the most valuable player in the league, how can you say I didn't dominate the league that year?
Is it your best year?
No.
Your best year is your most dominating year, right?
But why can't I have 5 dominating years?
They argued that players like A'ja Wilson have continued to shine alongside Clark, and there's room for multiple stars to dominate in the WNBA. This latest round of criticism from Swoops has only deepened the divide between her and Clark's supporters. Many believe that Swoops is not being objective in her analysis and is instead letting personal biases influence her commentary. But as Gil's Arena made clear, Clark's performances speak for themselves, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for critics to downplay her impact. As the backlash continues, fans and analysts are wondering what's next for Sheryl Swoops. Will she continue to double down on her critique of Caitlin Clark? Or will she acknowledge that Clark's rookie season is one of the greatest in WNBA history? Gilbert Arenas hinted that Swoops might have to adjust her approach if she wants to maintain her credibility as a broadcaster and analyst. It's okay to have opinions, but when those opinions aren't based in reality, you lose the audience, Arenas said during the show. Swoops' legacy as a player is cemented, but her recent comments have called into question her role as a commentator. Moving forward, it will be interesting to see if she changes her tune or if this criticism will define her post-playing career. The debate over Caitlin Clark's dominance isn't going away anytime soon, but one thing's for sure, her rookie season is already making history. What do you think? Has Sheryl Swoops been too harsh, or does she have a point? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more WNBA updates. Caitlin Clark's journey is just beginning, and we're here to cover every moment of it. As the Indiana Fever prepare for their first playoff run since 2016, Kelsey Mitchell is leaving no stone unturned. With the playoffs looming, Mitchell has sought advice from NBA stars D'Angelo Russell and Miles McBride on how to handle the pressure of postseason basketball.
Anybody you relied on to ask about the difference in playoff prep, day-to-day thinking, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I recently talked to my close friend D'Angelo Russell. He had a thing, so we go real back. So me and him go back to the point where we trained together at Ohio State. So we kind of know each other. So from that perspective, it was good to get a conversation and get a glimpse of how it looked. I also want to get a chance to talk to McBride. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He played for the Knicks, but he's from Cincinnati, Ohio. Miles McBride. He just actually was a part of the run too. He made a run with the Knicks, and so he knew what it was like to be from the same hometown. And so I like to get as much information as I can. So I'll be excited to hear about it.
But can their wisdom help the Fever navigate the tough road ahead? Let's explore what Mitchell has learned and how it could shape Indiana's playoff push. The Indiana Fever are back in the WNBA playoffs, and much of their resurgence can be credited to rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. Her ability to stretch the floor with her limitless range and create opportunities for teammates has been transformative. But as the Fever gear up for their postseason matchup against the Connecticut Sun, Kelsey Mitchell, a key part of Indiana's backcourt, is taking a proactive approach to prepare for the challenges ahead. The Fever will be going up against a battle-tested Sun team, led by experienced players like Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Jones, and two-time WNBA champion DeWanna Bonner. With that kind of experience on the other side, Mitchell knows the Fever need to be mentally tough. That's why she's reached out to two players with postseason experience in the NBA, D'Angelo Russell of the Los Angeles Lakers and Miles McBride of the New York Knicks, to get some crucial playoff advice. Mitchell's connection with D'Angelo Russell goes back to their days at Ohio State, where the two trained together. "We go way back," Mitchell shared with reporters.
Anybody you relied on to ask about the difference in playoff prep, day-to-day thinking, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, man. I recently talked to my close friend D'Angelo Russell. He had a good started, and we go real back. So
from that perspective, it was good to get a conversation in regards to how it looked. Russell, who has been through his fair share of playoff battles, offered Mitchell insight into how grueling the postseason can be and how important it is to stay locked in, especially when shots aren't falling. For the Fever, Mitchell's ability to remain effective even when her jumper isn't falling could be the difference between a quick exit and a deep playoff run. Russell's advice likely centered around maintaining composure, being adaptable, and finding other ways to contribute when things get tough. Something that's crucial in the playoffs, where the margin for error is razor thin. In addition to Russell's wisdom, Mitchell also reached out to Miles McBride, a player who has quickly earned a reputation for his toughness and mental focus with the New York Knicks. McBride, who hails from the same hometown as Mitchell, has carved out a role for himself in New York by embracing his role and being ready for any situation. His advice to Mitchell? Don't force the issue and play within the flow of the game. In the playoffs, every possession matters, and McBride's advice could help Mitchell stay patient and avoid trying to do too much. While the Fever rely heavily on her scoring, Mitchell will need to trust her teammates and pick her spots wisely to ensure that Indiana can compete with the Suns' more experienced roster. Knowing when to take over and when to distribute the ball will be crucial for the Fever, especially as Caitlin Clark shoulders much of the playmaking duties. The importance of learning from others who have been through the grind of the playoffs can't be overstated. The advice from Russell and McBride provides Mitchell with a mental framework to approach what will undoubtedly be the most intense basketball of the season. The WNBA playoffs are a different animal, intense, physically demanding, and mentally draining. While Mitchell and the Fever are newcomers to this stage, their preparation, bolstered by advice from seasoned pros, gives them a fighting chance. The Fever's playoff matchup against the Connecticut Sun will be no easy task. The Sun's core group of players have been to the finals before and know what it takes to win in the postseason. However, the Fever, led by Mitchell and Clark, have shown resilience all season. With Clark orchestrating the offense and Mitchell providing the scoring punch, Indiana is ready to embrace the challenge. Mitchell's growth this season has been evident, and her partnership with Clark has elevated both of their games. But as any seasoned player knows, the playoffs are a different beast. The pace slows down, defensive intensity ratchets up, and teams game plan to shut down stars like Mitchell. That's where the advice from Russell and McBride will be crucial. Russell knows all about the highs and lows of postseason basketball, and McBride's steadiness and unflappability in high-pressure moments are traits Mitchell will need to channel. Mitchell's role in the Fever's offense is critical, especially as the Sun look to exploit their experience advantage. Connecticut's playoff-tested players will likely throw everything at Mitchell and Clark to disrupt Indiana's rhythm. But the Fever can take comfort in knowing that Mitchell has done everything she can to prepare for this moment. Drawing on the wisdom of players who have been through the grind of the playoffs, Mitchell is mentally gearing up for what's to come. With the Indiana Fever gearing up for a tough first-round playoff matchup, Kelsey Mitchell's preparation could be the key to their success. Will the advice from D'Angelo Russell and Miles McBride help her rise to the occasion and lead the Fever to a deep playoff run? One thing's for sure, the Fever are ready to embrace the challenge, and Mitchell is more prepared than ever to handle the pressure. Stay tuned because the Fever's playoff journey is just beginning.